Hello and welcome to Aha Moment. This one is called Puja to your body. Now, I hope I have said that word right. I shouldn't mess with other languages I'm not that familiar with, but you'll get the drift when we get through this, okay? I want to welcome you to Aha Moments. Aha Moments, you've probably had Aha Moments before, right? Every once in a while, something hits you and you just like, oh my gosh, it just sometimes it comes out of seemingly nowhere. Sometimes it's just a gentle connection. Sometimes the message comes through somebody else, but the whole point of these aha moments are to cite some typical situations that would happen in every day, every week, every month, every year. You know, there's no such a in terms of frequency. It's more the fact that you would recognize these situations or these circumstances, and that somehow there was a little something that just this little burst of light that came in and you got something at a new level or a deeper level, right? We're always learning, we're always evolving, and we're always paying attention, right? So there's always things that are coming into it and ways in which that we are growing through these little aha moments. I always say that we learn one aha moment at a time. So this one is Puja to your body is about reshaping yourself, reshaping your physical self. And it is definitely a twist. So let's go through the aha. I'm going to read it. It was published on May 15th. I'm going to read it to you. And it's archived on the website on jrang.com. And, you know, if you're not getting them, then, you know, obviously we can just come here every week and you can do the videos and we can read them together. Or if you want more in your inbox, and believe me, I don't send a whole lot of stuff because I don't like bombarding anybody. And it's not about what I have to say. It really is about our engagement. So, the ahas are one thing that come in every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. You can count on that. So I would really encourage you to subscribe to that. And then that way, every Monday morning Eastern, if that is your morning, then you get a nice start to the day. At any time that you listen to it, could be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or midnight, whatever it is, it's going to be the exact right time for you. So let's decide that that's how it works. So here we go. But definitely subscribe. I'd love to get you on the list and let's communicate more often. Okay, so reading time, 42 seconds. I'm going to go a little bit slower, but you'll probably, when you read it yourself, I'm sure you'll be quicker. Have you ever tried to lose weight or reshape your body in some way? What method did you use? Did you follow a program that limited the types of food, or whoopsie, or where limited the types of food, or where you needed to measure them in some way? Where were there time intervals suggested for eating or moving, sleeping or prepping? Did you accomplish your goals and live happily ever after, or did you slide back at some point? Making a change of any kind requires vision, courage, education, a plan, and often a buddy or support network. But I've come to realize that when it comes to our body, we know so little about it. We are bombarded with information, often conflicting, and from a multitude of sources, that the change we embark upon becomes complicated and difficult. At which point, the only thing that becomes slimmer is the chance of success. What does it take to have a healthy, fit body? What if your will is a little less iron and a little more aluminum? Aha! Your body is a manifestation of God. And if you honor your body, everything will change for you. That is a quote from Don Miguel Ruiz. In essence, work through your creator. 2, as Don says, stand up and be human and honor the man or woman that you are. When you love and respect your body, you naturally want to feed it, clean it, exercise it, and heal it in a way that feels good. This is puja to the body, and that is a communication between you and God, says Miguel. Consider that you've been railroaded from loving yourself. There's fluoride in your water, chemicals in your food, unnatural medicines, slavery to success, runaway inflation, damaging rays from your connected devices, and addictive substances in every shop to serve the chronic need for timeout. It's all counterintuitive to anyone wishing health and vibrance. When you stand up and be human, truly appreciate your intelligent body, and reconnect with your intuition as to how to maintain it, you will naturally make choices that bring you back to perfection. My personal prescription is nature. Hence the background today. I tried to do this recording outside, and between the shadows, it wasn't working, the noise, and it's actually pretty quiet outside, but just the, the typical outdoor noise, and the fact that the screen was reflecting. I had a really tough time navigating the mouse. I'm having a tough enough time just with the reflection of the window here. So that didn't work. However, I am going to get outside after I do this recording. And what I recognize, and I put a little footnote on the actual AHA. So if you go on jrain.com and you go in the archives on this one, you'll see a little footnote on there. And the footnote says this: I'm studying the work of Dr. Jack Kruse, who says, when you understand light, water, and magnetism, everything changes. Now, he's very technical, so it's taking me several hours to learn the basics, but intuitively, I need to follow the truth about who we are. Find more on Puja on YouTube, which is what you're doing here. So Dr. Jack Kruse was a friend of mine, Rachel. She is a medical doctor in Western Canada. And we are also connected through our precious metals group. We're also connected as we are freedom from self-sabotage coaches too. So we have lots of commonality. We've never met, but we're already best of friends, and we communicate regularly. She shared this with me, and what Dr. Kruse talks about, what he says about water, magnetism, and the sun. So in my book, 50 Simple Ways to Release the Shackles of Self-Sabotage, all the chapters are tiny, but there is one chapter that is about, and I think the headline is something like, toes in the water, look at the sun. And I know when my son and I were in Bermuda a few weeks ago, we did just that. When we got in, we walked straight to the beach, and we just stood on the beach. We allowed the water to kind of lap up over our feet, and we just looked up at the sun. And I'm telling you, within minutes, we just felt whole. There is so much energy that comes through nature, through the sun and through the earth, and of course the water. And that's what Dr. Kruse talks about. He says that he has done, I want to say light therapy, but it's basically get up, get morning light, look at the sun, and no sunglasses, sunscreen, hats, like just get rid of it all. Now, of course, depending on the climate, and when my son and I were in Bermuda, we did get a little burnt that first day because the sun was very hot compared to the climate that we're used to. It was a little closer to the equator. The sky was super clear. So, I mean, we did get a little more sun than we wanted to. But you know what? I didn't care. It was kind of like, okay, so we'll just cover up a little bit, put some nice natural cream on ourselves for, a little bit later, and we survived, So, but getting up in the morning, Dr. Kruse has done so many studies for 15 years. He's immersed in this, and when I say he's technical, Rachel has been sending me different videos, and I've read all kinds of articles and everything, and I'm trying to drill down and get to the point, because there are some very distinct points that he makes. But one of them is definitely about sunshine, how just getting that morning light and setting your rhythm for the day, and giving, especially if you're standing on the ground, So I started to do that. We're in a climate right now where I can do that. In the Northern Hemisphere, I mean, in the winter time, I got to figure out something else because we can't do it here. But in the morning time, I go out and I literally grab, I call it my fake coffee. It's dandelion and chicory root. And I go out and I stand on the ground. I water my couple of plants out there, and I just look up at the sun. And I have started that as a practice. I'm not getting up as early as I probably should to get full benefit, but at least I'm making an effort to do it. And I'm telling you, I did some yard work about a week ago. I'm not a fan of yard work, but I had some cleanup to do in the backyard with the gardens. I trimmed a couple of bushes down. I dismantled some winter planters and stuff, and I did everything in bare feet on the grass and worked there with the sun coming down. And I'm telling you, I had such a smile on my face. It really made a huge difference. I want to share that with you, and how important that is. And go look up Dr. Jack Kruse, Kruz. Don Miguel Ruiz, that I quoted in the AHA today, he is the one that wrote the 4 Agreements, which was one of my first really pivotal personal development books. And I've mentioned that book often. It's a small book. It's just something about small books, which is why I write small books. There's something about small books and having concise little messages that to me are often the biggest aha moments. I have a few books that I've been buying because I love to read, especially when I'm traveling. And I'm telling you, they're inches thick and they're very repetitive. And I find it's amazing information. I often don't finish them, which is too bad. So these little books kind of work for me, and I hope they do for you as well. But the 4 agreements, and I think he did eventually come up with a 5th agreement, but the 4 agreements were pivotal for me. And because once you understand like something simple of like be impeccable with your word, okay, what does that mean? He takes a few pages to explain that. Once you are impeccable with your word, everything changes for you, because you check yourself constantly to say, am I really saying what I mean? Am I using my words properly? Am I excusing myself? Am I, you're always checking yourself for your authenticity, right? So, and I think that that's really important. But, in here, when I talk about your self-love and say that there has been, and I'm reading it just to make sure I get the right words and phrases here for you, that there has been so much railroading against us feeling good about ourselves, against us loving ourselves, loving our families. There's just been so much pressure to look at the pressure right now as I write. And this is May 2023. I see in Canada, and friends of mine in Maine and the US were saying the same thing in the schools, how the pressure is on teenage kids right now to second guess themselves in terms of their gender. And what teenage kid isn't already second guessing themselves? I mean, that's a time when we're copying so many different people and situations and circumstances and everything. But it's like we try on personalities like we do sweaters, just to try and figure out who we are. So that's a very volatile time. We get way lost and eventually we come back, which again, how important parenting is to kind of ground them through that time. But the point being is that there's just so much pressure. There's so many damaging influences right now on us to keep us within this unhealthy tribe. And going away from that tribe is risky, not just for you, but for the tribe. It weakens the tribe. And so oftentimes people don't want you to change, right? So if you start to do something, I know, listening to one of the other coaches, and she was saying when she started, she went through a very difficult ailment, disease, and she had to really clean up her diet, and to very significantly. I mean, she was very ill and she cleaned up her diet, and once she did, and she started coming around and her body was super healthy, and she was never going to go back to that toxic diet again. Then a lot of friends didn't want to have her over because it's like, oh, you don't eat the same things we do and you're so difficult and whatever. And she just was like, she found it really hard, but she said, I'm this is me, I'm committed to me, and if you don't love what I'm doing for myself, then too bad, so sad, right? She kept going. So I want to kind of point to that in this aha and say that when we really fall in love with ourselves, and when we honor the body for the magnificent instrument that it is, and the instrument that we've been given in order to live our purpose on this planet, then we start taking different care of ourselves. So, we clean, we heal, I have a very close friend of mine that, she doesn't like shopping for herself, doesn't like dressing herself, and very, very simple, which is fine. Simple is good, but it's not a big deal for her to wear a 30-year-old dress, and she doesn't really care. And her attitude is, well, if you don't like the way I dress, you don't like the way whatever. And I interpret that a little differently, because when you care for yourself, and you are in good shape, and I mean, I shouldn't be pointing to myself because I'm not in the best shape that I would like to be. So obviously, I have a few little cobwebs to clean up, so before I'm feeling well. However, I shouldn't say that. I feel pretty well. I do eat well, and I am pretty mindful, but not perfect, right? Not perfect. We still have some work to do, like getting up a little bit earlier to get some of that morning sunshine. So we all have some work. We're all evolving, right? But the difference is when we talk about eating intuitively and doing things that just are so natural to your body, like now, like I know that I crave sunshine. I know that I love, I would go golfing barefooted if it was, if I could get away with it more often than not. When I went to Bermuda a few weeks ago and I had my feet in the water, just standing on the sand and allowing that water to just lap over my feet and having that sun just pour into me. As I said, it only took minutes for me to just feel so calm and feel so rejuvenated. So when you think of our normal working situation, like, the average individual that even if they work out of the house but goes to work, how much time do they spend behind the computer on, or, so many people wear those wireless buds, like all of those damaging waves, the microwaves, the cell phone in their pocket. That alone is so toxic to your system, right? We really need to manage how much computer time. And I know, I was listening to Jack Cruz, and he was saying that every time tech spend goes up 10%, obesity goes up 1%. And it's not necessarily that we're sitting behind the computer or the TV or whatever. It's not the fact that we're more sedentary. It is more the damaging effect of the waves. That's an aha moment. That is a huge aha moment. So in other words, we're not, and he will do a lot of his interviews outside. He just gets outside as much. He goes, I have my computer in front of me, but I'm outside. At least I'm getting, the natural light, right? No, it wasn't so much that we were just sitting, it was the damaging waves. So that was what was making people heavier, because they lost their rhythm. And what happened during lockdown? What were we doing? The fast food joints were open, the liquor stores were open. We weren't getting together with people. We were isolated. My son was telling me the other day that he read something, and I know I'm going to get the number wrong because I just don't remember these things. I'm not a detail person that way, but he was saying that loneliness is equivalent to smoking like 300 cigarettes a week. And it could have even been a larger number than that. But the point being of loneliness being the damage to our psyches and our systems. And of course, the mind body isn't connected, it's one. So when your mind is affected, your thoughts are affected, your body is naturally affected, right? So we need nature, we need to get out, we need to be around one another more often. We need the hugs. I just got back from a business trip, and people that I've worked with for 18 months and never met any of them. But yet when we got together, it was like, oh my God, the hugs and the tears. And we were just so happy to be in one another's company and just feeling the energy of other people. You can't replace it, right? So we need to get away from the screens. We need to get into nature. We need to get around people. We need to honor ourselves. So Miguel talks about eating intuitively and really slowing yourself down when you go to eat something. I've been on such a blueberry kick lately, and I know Cruz is not a big fan of blueberries, but we have wild Canadian blueberries that I buy here. And I just have a berry bowl in my fridge. And, if I really feel like I need something, when I can slow myself down rather than going for the bread and cheese, which is my natural thing, I kind of slow myself down and I go, what is it I really want? And when I listen to my body, oftentimes it's blueberries, and I'll get a handful of blueberries. Oh my God, they go down so well. So that is where we need to kind of get back to listening to our body, getting in the rhythm. I know I have craved nature. I know I have complained about my weight gain over the last couple of years, which was very sad. And I started to say to myself, I think I was taking a lot out of me and out on me. A lot of all the negativity, I was taking it out of me. In other words, I was polluting myself over this. So that was a huge awareness. And I was also saying that I've just been spending way too much time behind a computer, but I couldn't travel. I couldn't go to see people. There were a lot of restrictions for people like me that, decided not to participate in the experiment. And so, we try to make the best of it. But I know that, for me, intuitively, not because I had any research whatsoever, but intuitively saying, I know the weight gain is because I'm behind the computer too much. And reading Dr. Jack Cruz, he absolutely confirmed it. So, and absolutely confirmed the fact that I'm craving nature and craving sunshine so naturally, so naturally. And so how good is that for your body, right? So I wanted to leave you with that. I think it's a really profound message. As I said, it's a short message, short in terms of how it's written. I would, if you don't have a copy of 4 Agreements, I would highly recommend that you get it. And I would highly recommend that you take the time to go through each chapter and really get a sense of how it affects you, what you think, what you feel when you read them. Most people do not live within those 4 agreements. I can tell you they don't. And, we talk about integrity. Here's something I'm just going to share with you. And once you get into this, it's really hard to do anything differently. When lockdown happened and I realized what was happening, which is probably, weeks into it anyway, I gave up my Costco membership. I actually bought one thing on Amazon, I confess, but did not shop on Amazon. I didn't go into a Walmart for a very long time. I didn't participate in any of the big experiences whatsoever. I did as much with locals as I could, or with shops that I could trace, or mom and pops. I paid more for everything, and I was fine doing that. I didn't like paying more. Nobody likes paying more. But the point being is that if it cost me more to support a small business, I was fine doing that. And I did things like even though I was home, I still paid my lawn care people to come and cut the lawn and do their thing, because I wanted to keep their job going as well. So all of those things I did out of integrity. They were bigger picture things that I did, because I was using my money and my wallet to speak on where I wanted us to go in terms of humanity. So a lot of people said, well, I got a big family to feed, like it's a lot cheaper at Costco. Bingo, out of integrity right off the bat, right? So when you are wanting to be impeccable and you want to be in integrity, you check yourself on those kind of decisions. And let's circle back to your body. Anything that you're doing, people are paying an awful lot of money for a lot of weight loss programs, and whatever you do, I mean, if you want to measure and what, go ahead. But I think hone in on a program that really speaks to you as a human being, that teaches you more about what it means to be a human being, how your body works. Learn how your body works. We know so little about it, and understand, Jack Cruz is a great one to study with, so that you understand the effects of sunshine, of magnetism, and obviously water. Water is again, that's another little chapter in my book, but water is just such a huge subject that we need to pay significant attention to. Not just the fact that we are 73% water and that we need to be hydrated, but and yes, we have to have a good quality water, but the fact that water conducts electricity, and we are electromagnetic beings. Let that one sink in. Okay, so I'll leave you with all that. A little bit longer than I expected, but I hope you got something out of it. Definitely, send me a note, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I